to be surrounded, several members are coming from the House and the Senate, but we wanted to start, by several Democratic colleagues who have joined me in opposing the Biden administration's newly announced asylum bans. Today, we sent a letter signed by nearly 80 members of Congress from both chambers, which express our concern that President Biden is reversing his promise to restore access to asylum at our southern border. Our letter, which was co-led in the Senate by Senators Booker, Lujan, and Padilla, and in the House by Representatives Ocasio-Cortez, Grijalva, and Casar, condemns the administration's expansion of Title 42. And it urges the president to reconsider his decision to create a new transit ban. Now, we recognize that the United States is experiencing a difficult migration challenge at the southern border. We recognize that President Trump made a top priority to dismantle border and asylum processing as we know it. But as elected officials, we are duty-bound to propose legal solutions, one that protects asylum seekers while also securing the safe removal of migrants who have no legal claim to stay in the United States. Now, anyone who tells you that the only way to secure our border is to punish asylum seekers is lying. It's why we are appalled to see President Biden replicate President Trump's immigration strategy. The right to seek asylum is enshrined in both international and domestic law. These laws were passed by Congress after our immigration system shamefully failed to protect Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi persecution. They were passed so that the United States of America would always shine as a beacon of hope for a newly arrived immigrant. After all, the words etched on the Statue of Liberty do not read, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," just so that we can turn them around and send them back to where they came. I want to be clear. The Biden administration's announcement expanding Title 42, and by the way, Title 42 is not a solution. It is part of the problem. It is a revolving door. It has no final adjudication of those who may have a right for asylum and those who may not have a right for asylum. And so when we see the numbers at the border, part of it is that we have this revolving door of people who try to come in, get automatically pushed back as a result of Title 42, and then they take another shot at it. There's no finality to it. Makes no sense. While also issuing a new transit ban on asylum seekers runs completely contrary to this creed. As a matter of fact, it runs completely contrary to what then Vice President Biden, and before that, Senate Chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee Biden said about the question of asylum. As he grapples with the ongoing legal battle to end Title 42, the Biden administration cannot have it both ways. They cannot acknowledge that seeking asylum is a legal right. They cannot indicate that they then want to expand legal pathways and secure our border, only to expand this disastrous Trump-era relic that only benefits human smugglers. The administration also cannot have it both ways when they claim to be committed to restoring access to asylum, and then they callously block access to asylum, imposing a transit ban policy that forces migrants to first seek humanitarian protection in a third country. 3 years ago, when President Biden promised to dismantle President Trump's asylum bans, he said, and I quote, "This is the first time ever you've had to seek asylum in a third country. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. And it's wrong." Close quote. Those were the words of then candidate Biden. Today, we ask the president to recommit to his values, because no matter how many Trump policies the Biden administration resurrects, Republicans will continue to obstruct any effort to actually reform our border processing and modernize our immigration system. They need immigration to stay in the headlines. Why? Because it's the red meat that they use to rile up their base. Now, I refuse to play that game. I've worked my entire career, more than 30 years in Congress, trying to forge a bipartisan agreement that secures our borders, provides legal pathways to citizenship. It's what we did in 2013 with the Gang of Eight. We can do that if there are people of goodwill and a desire to move forward. That's why I urge the president not to go through with his transit ban rule and continue the fight to end Title 42 in the courts and work with Congress, not against us, to finally dedicate the resources we need to get a handle on our mass migration challenge once and for all. Right now, the Biden administration has two options. It can continue playing into the hands of extreme anti-immigrant leaders, individuals who will only be satisfied when they end the asylum system as we know it. Or they can return to their original plan of speeding up cases for asylum seekers, eliminating the immigration court backlog, addressing the root causes of immigration, and efficiently and legitimately removing people who have no legal claim to stay in the United States. The ball is now in their court.